So, everyone, this is Ryden7. He just unfortunately failed to get into Challenger, but he has been at Diamond 1 for quite some time, and he has been up in the top of the NA solo queue. And do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, Ryden?
Yeah, sure. I'm Ryden7. Rizwan Muhammad is my name. I play top lane for Zen Method. We are right now the top team in Utah, and we usually compete in local tournaments. And I also run the collegiate program at the University of Utah.
That's very cool. Yeah, I've actually I casted you guys live here in Utah, and you guys have a really good program up there at University of Utah. What's it been like playing on a team there?
Um, are you talking about the CSL team?
Yeah, your team or just Zen Method in general.
Zen Method, we play. Zen Method doesn't compete in any of the tournaments that we hold in the at the University of Utah, just because we think that we give other teams a chance to compete and play against each other, and because we run it, we sit out. And this year, actually, it'll be a little bit different because we're hosting a whole another bracket for players that are gold and below. So it'll give other players a chance to compete with people in their divisions instead of playing against people who are like diamond and stuff like that.
Okay, very cool. That's a great idea to give them a chance to compete as well. I know what it's like to be down there, and I'm curious, how long have you been playing League of Legends?
I've been playing ever since season one. I started ranking towards the end of season one. I was silver at the end of season one, and I climbed my
Nice.
way up.
So there's hope for us all, is what you're saying.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So what are
Took
some
me a
of
lot of time.
what are some of the things that you've done that you think have helped you improve from silver up to now to almost challenger?
Generally, the usually I do coaching on the side as well, and what I notice is a lot of the people who come to me for coaching, they tell me that they don't really know what they're doing wrong, and I think that's the fundamental problem. Is that even when you watch streams and you see these pros pull out these plays and do certain things, they're doing it like it's very efficient the way that they're doing things, and as when you're looking at it from like when you're not that experienced, you can't really tell what's going on and how much it's benefiting you. When in reality, it's the small things that matter rather
Okay.
than like it starts to add up. So like people like they don't pay attention to creep aggro, like the warding at certain times when you're gonna get ganked, and different things like that. And I mean, even when I was climbing, it was difficult for me to see those things as well. So just have to play enough games to get a feel for it. And I mean, a lot of the stuff that the pros say, it's generally pretty true. A lot of the like more there are certain pros who do a lot better job at explaining what's going on. Boy, for example, I liked watching him because he would go through a commentary, in-depth commentary about what he was doing and why he was doing it. Whereas other players, they just sit there and they're like, yeah, like they just try. They're more entertainers than like teaching you how to play. There are a specific few.
Yeah, I understand.
What
How can we discover our mistakes there, like you're saying, like just the little things? Are there certain ways that you found that you've been able to spot your own where we not might not usually be able to?
it usually comes with experience. I mean, the smaller things usually don't matter. When I was ranking up, the more broad things were like objective control and like when to trade, when to harass, when to ward, and different things like that. There's nothing really to tell. It's just you kind of get a feel for after you play a certain amount of games, and you have to kind of remember. You have to write down your mistakes. So something that I recommend to everyone is to go back and look at your replays. I know a little replay is really bad right now. It's difficult to do this, but if there's any way that you could record yourself, just watch your game and be like, hey, what could I have done better in any situation? You get ganked, you're like, hey, how could I avoid this gank next time? And you kind of get a feel for when you need to ward and what's going on and different stuff. The refined stuff is usually more like you know when you're going to like when you're able to win a trade and stuff like that. That usually just by game experience. So that's more refined stuff that you get a feel for as you get better.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, so we're getting the replay system, right? Right? Soon? Soon?
Hopefully.
Soon. But so you think that once we get that in, reviewing your replays, that can help you out. What about some more specific things? You're mostly a top laner, correct?
Yeah, I play top lane. My second favorite role is AD carry, and usually those are the two that I like to play.
Cool. Do you think those are pretty easy to carry with in solo queue?
Not top lane. It's top lane is a bit difficult. Right now, the tank meta is going on. I personally don't like this meta because it goes exactly against what I play. So like I like assassins and like I do the Pantheon top, which normally people you don't see that, you know. So
Right.
it's difficult to run that into a tank meta because they just regen your like you have champions like Rengar and Mundo who have like built-in sustain and health regens, and Shyvana who gets bonus armor. So it's difficult for assassins to compete like that. But then you have other people who are better at that, like Yasuo is a huge lane bully.
Okay. And so like Yasuo, what are the champions that you think, say you end up in the top lane, that would be the easiest to pick up and then contribute to your team with? Do you think you mentioned Mundo and Shyvana? Would you recommend those for players trying to rank up?
Um, if you're trying to rank up, I recommend you play the meta. That's super important. It's just those champions are a meta for a reason. It's just because of I mean, pros, they're not playing those for no reason. They have some strength that other champions don't have.
Okay. All right, very cool. I think that's something I can learn from as well as I'm trying to get back out of my my placements. That last game, you unfortunately weren't able to win, and part of that was your mid and top got pretty far behind. But for you in the bottom lane, what are some things you think you could have done to do just a little bit better?
The main thing was communication between me and my support. The problem what was happening is because it's a lot difficult to play against a team who's duo queue, and unfortunately for me that was Lemonation and Sneaky. So,
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, it's difficult, and have enough experience where they're able to like know exactly what they're doing. They're on the same page basically, and it's different. And it's different when you're in solo queue with someone you've never played with. Leona did she did very well in lane. She lagged out a couple times, and there was some problems, but like overall, it's I mean, just the communication between the C9 team was just too strong, and we weren't
Okay.
able to.
Are what are some things you would suggest though for people who are just solo queuing like you were for communicating, say, with your support in the bottom lane? Are there any things you've noticed that help, like describing what you're going to do before you go in, or just trying to utilize pings as much as you can in lane?
What I like to do is I actually like to use the the ping that says I'm going here, like I'm coming basically. I don't know what it's called exactly, but it's to the right, so it's a smart
Yeah,
ping to the right.
yeah, the on my way one.
On my way,
Uh
yeah.
huh.
That's the one I usually use before I go in. Generally, in bot lane, support usually dictates when you're going to trade and like do different things, and that's a lot more helpful depending on what your support is. So, I mean, if your support is in the brush and applying pressure, then that's great. You are able to farm effectively. But that game, Lemonation was actually able to push out Leon out of the brush, and he had bush control, which made it difficult for me to farm, and they would both converge on me anytime I tried. So it's difficult for me to move up, especially when you don't have bush control.
All right. Yeah, yeah, I understand. Definitely a rough situation to be in, but I think that you've helped us at least understand how you could do it a little bit better. Um, I think we will wrap it up, but first, where can we find you online?
I am on Facebook and Twitter. So my Facebook is just, I believe it's just Ryden7, and my Twitter is just Twitter profile of Ryden786.
Very cool. I have that on screen. I'll make sure to put it below once I upload this to YouTube so everyone can find you. This is going to be one of our next challenger players. I know you're going to get there. It's just going to take a couple of rounds, and I'm excited to see you there. I'm excited to cast more of your games in the future, and thanks for coming on doing this interview with me, Ryden.
Cool. Thanks for having me.
Cool. See ya.
See ya.